Hello ladies and gentlemen, today we have the all new Nexon EV and we have two gentlemen, Vivek Srivatsa, Head of Marketing Sales and Service from Tata Motors and Martin Uhlarik, Head of Design. Thank you gentlemen, thank you for doing this Vivek and
Hello,
Martin.
hello.
So, shall we go on the drive in the new Nexon EV?
Yes. Who should drive?
Of course, I'm very top gear, so I should drive technically.
I would like to drive as well.
You will drive
Yeah, I wouldn't mind either, actually. I wouldn't mind having a crack at that.
Alright, so there's a problem here, but I have a solution, Martin.
Okay.
In India, we have a small game that we play. We just keep your hand like this,
Mm-hmm.
and we are going to lift it up on the air, and whichever way it's sides out, that person wins.
Okay,
All
let's try it.
Fair square?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Oh,
Oh.
sorry.
Sorry, guys.
All right, then Vivek, you take the keys. Steering. So Vivek, how does it feel to drive the new Nexon EV?
It's amazing,
I'm still to drive some. I can't give my verdict or opinion because all embargo. So
Yeah.
I can only ask you and smile when I look at you driving this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm used to the earlier generation car, and I was telling Martin when I got in, it feels so different. It's like two generations ahead.
Right.
So digitized,
Correct.
very different. Yeah.
Now, tell me this, Vivek. Nexon and Tiago EV have been instrumental in getting EVs to the masses, right? We all know that.
Absolutely.
Now, when you have to design marketing around it, what is your thought process? So you have to educate them to first buy an EV, then buy a car, or how does it go? You must be.
Yeah, I think it's about converting normal car buyers to EV
Correct.
believers actually.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there have been a lot of hurdles earlier in terms of safety, battery life, and all that.
True.
We continue to have those challenges, but it's come down quite a lot. Like I said yesterday, we have more than 100,000 EVs on the road. We have 53,000 Nexons itself.
True.
So there's a lot of belief coming in.
Mhm.
But I think customers are waiting for rapid development of the product. Like you see this leap in digitization that we have taken, leap in design that we have taken. Those are the kind of interventions customers are seeking, to start getting into the EV space.
So you have done a lot of category level marketing also. You've basically,
We have to. Yeah.
and others have benefited.
Yeah, we are the
due to
huge market leader with more than 75% market share, and it's incumbent on us to grow the market.
benefit. Right.
It's also a good thing and a bad thing, but yes.
And Martin, when you have to redesign some car like this, which has already got into design senses of a lot of people, and changing that is not easy because people get used to certain style and etc.
Sure.
So what were the things that you kept in mind, keeping the Indian customers and keeping that the Nexon has sold over 500,000 cars?
Well, it was a big responsibility. Nexon is our best-selling car. It's the backbone of our portfolio. So we really looked at the Nexon and we looked at what were its strengths, what were the areas where we wanted to improve, and how do we redefine a Nexon without losing the spirit and the positives that the car has built up as a brand.
And today's customers, demand faster life cycle. So when you design something, like what kind of a science or method to go through the madness to? Because customer will say after 2 years, no, it's old. So do you like some metrics or some software you would plan for 5 years?
Well, our job is to be futurists. So this car was designed essentially 2 years ago. And when we're designing, whether it's the Nexon or any other product, we do a lot of trend analysis, and it's not just design trends, but social trends and also technology. And so I firmly believe that if you want a design to remain relevant and timeless, you have to make it as simple and easy to understand and as modern as possible. Actually, the simpler the design, the better it will age, and also the more contemporary it'll look.
True that. Apple's philosophy.
I guess, yes.
But Vivek, what's next from Tata Motors?
No, I mean, there's going to be a slew of launches. We've already announced that we'll have 10 products in the market by 2025. We've shown, unlike the ICE philosophy, we've gone again the gadget way, and we've shown all the future products. You've seen the Sierra.
Which one is your particular favorite? Is it the Curve?
I like all of them.
Okay. It's like asking somebody which baby is your favorite.
Exactly. You can't choose a child. So I'm sure it's the same for Martin as well.
Right. So Martin, when you think of uh, all these concepts which we have were showcased, a year back, I guess.
Yeah.
Will all of them make it to reality, and how much percentage of that will actually be into reality? We'll see it in flesh.
Well, I think actually quite a lot. I think the track record that the design team has at Tata Motors is actually pretty exceptional. Whether it was the Nexon concept 10 years ago, and it translated very well into the first generation Nexon. And then we've seen with all the other subsequent models, whether it was the Punch, Ultros, and so forth. So I'm pretty confident that the concepts that we showed, for instance, in the last 12, 18 months, I mean, I know, I've already seen the production car versions of them, and the difference is actually very small. I'm always, sort of quoting 85, 90%. And to be honest, we have a couple in the studio where we had to actually show the management the difference because it was so small.
Right. So tell me this, Martin, that like there are a lot of EVs manufacturers coming in the scooter range, a lot of manufacturers, new age brands like even the gadget brands like Sony, etc., will come in the EV space. How difficult, or what is the entry barrier like? How do they start from a scratch to a finished product? Like in terms of design, what are the challenges that they will have? Now that you are there, because you have a heads up and you have an R&D studio and you have the market intelligence, for a new player, you think it's going to be very easy?
I think most obviously companies have a certain capability, so they'll get to a certain level, but actually being successful in the Indian market is more nuanced and more sophisticated than people think. I think there's a lot of examples of people underestimating the Indian market and understanding the psychology of the Indian customer. And we've seen that with a number of very established brands. So I have no doubt that people come in with good capability from a design point of view. But finding that right recipe that resonates, I think we've shown that we have a very good finger on the pulse.
And what about, and Vivek, what are the challenges you've actually faced in marketing an EV, and what are the challenges you think is still an uphill task going ahead with the EV and everything in mind?
I think people are hugely concerned about battery life. Initially we went and gave an 8-year warranty, and it was so good that people thought that 8 years is the life of the battery.
Okay.
So yeah. So
8 years finished battery.
Yeah, exactly.
Vaporizes.
Yeah. So it's something which was too good to be true, which actually was working against us. So a lot of education in terms of the fact that the battery life is actually maybe more than 12 years, and internal saying that battery will outlast the car, and you have second life, third life for batteries. So that is something we are trying to address. Second is question marks around resale value, because many of them will start coming into the market now with the new Nexon EV launched.
Right.
We've seen a lot of earlier generation Nexon customers wanting to upgrade. So that is something which will pan out, and they'll realize that resale value is actually better on EVs than ICE. Of course, charging infrastructure is the big challenge.
Still remains a challenge.
Yeah, I would say, once
But Tata do a good job with the infrastructure also.
Yes, that's true. But initially, before buying, people wanted to be as much available as probably fuel pumps, and also the time taken to charge is a concern.
Correct.
But this is something I think, it's never enough. You can always want more and more. So it's a balance. I think the customers need to strike on what they really need and what they want.
Correct.
Yeah.
So with the new Nexon now, vehicle to vehicle and
Exactly.
bipolar charging of the device.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a very significant step, because
Definitely.
this will take a lot.
It will take a lot of stress out of the customer, because there are so many Nexon EVs around, and hopefully we'll sell a lot of the Nexon.EV as well. So there will not be that panic that I'll get stuck. That last mile, last few kilometer charging can always be had anywhere.
Correct.
And the V2L as well, I think.
Where we can go for a campfire.
Yeah, you can really.
So this is where I think it will have an edge over ICE.
Exactly.
But the question is that, will it be able to charge only Nexon each other or any other EVs?
It charges Nexon faster, but you can still use it as a power bank for other EVs.
It won't be that fast.
It won't be that fast. But the point is, you need to charge for probably 10, 15, 20 kilometers.
So it's a very smart marketing
It's
thing.
that opportunity
Correct.
charging.
Which you need.
thing. You're not going to use an Nexon to fully charge another Nexon.
Right. So it's like an ecosystem.
Probably you need a 5% charge to get to the nearest charger.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's like an ecosystem you guys have created.
Absolutely.
Now. You have an Apple phone, you have to buy an Apple phone.
Exactly, and every car is a charging unit. Huh?
Correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that single step is because it's available in all the expensive cars, but it comes at this.
Yes.
This makes the whole opens up a floodgate of opportunities.
Absolutely.
And Martin, what's your favorite pick? When you look at the design, everything is so very fresh. I mean, I would like to say I can't say too much, but what do you think? What's your favorite pick from the design element?
From the interior, it's the steering wheel.
Steering wheel, okay.
Yeah, that was a big sort of bold move on our part.
Correct.
I mean, we originally were going to design just a standard steering wheel. We said it's part of the refresh.
Right.
We said we need a new corporate wheel. And the designer came up with a bunch of sketches, and he had a band of image boards. And it was all games consoles. It was all like PlayStation sort of handheld devices. And his argument was that the steering wheel should be seen as the games console. And that's how the driver basically engages all of the infotainment. And so then he just drew a rim around it, and it went from there. And then the management really liked that. They thought it really communicated that this is now a digital product. And it's really going away from an analog sort of object. And then the illuminated steering wheel, the logo, was an idea that it basically lights up as soon as you start the vehicle. And that is part of the infotainment, entertainment angle. So from the interior, the steering wheel. Yeah, that's the interior, and then for the exterior, it's the X factor that the rear lights are now illuminated. I think the car looks very modern and very sharp and precise, and again, same sort of communicating the same values like that steering wheel.
So talking about the steering wheel, when Vivek is driving, I can see. I think the way it will extrapolate in the future is that you'll have a map maybe shown there on that can be a screen for a lot of other users.
We did show that in the Avinia.
Yeah. Oh yeah, correct. Yes. I was thinking I'd seen somewhere. Yes,
that was the sort of future version of this.
Tomorrow people can actually slide their smartphone there and start driving. Yeah. Great, so much things will happen. So now, how do you see the future, Vivek, for you? How do you see the future of car sales? Now we have all gone EV. Do you think this digital sales will take over, or you think people will still go to the dealership and?
I think direct to customer, as we call it, is definitely going to increase. We've already seen with e-commerce companies how convenient it can be.
Correct.
Also with EVs, the cars get commoditized quite a bit.
Right.
I mean, you don't need to drive a car to know exactly how that engine is. It is more like a gadget.
Right.
Every iPhone is the same, right? In terms of if you buy an iPhone 15, it's iPhone 15. Yeah? So that is going to give a lot of peace of mind for customers to actually buy directly. We just need to get the infrastructure right in terms of ability to deliver the cars. There's a registration formalities and all which might need some help.
Right.
So I will see a hybrid kind of system coming in place where customers can do a bulk of the buying activity digitally.
Right.
But we might need our dealer partners to do a little bit.
But you think it's moving very fast in that space?
It is moving very fast, but India is such a big country, so you still will have a lot of traditional brick and mortar stores because people will want to have that physical experience. And as cars become more gadgets, you will still need to get people, show them what the cars look like, what are the kind of technologies that are there, and once customers are kind of comfortable with that, then they go on the online way. So it will be a mix, but the percentage definitely might change. Direct to customer definitely will increase going forward, especially on the EV side.
And you must have done a lot of consumer surveys and marketing surveys. Your customer, is he a little evolved? Even if it's a middle class customer, is he a little more evolved than the remaining customer? Is he somewhere conscious about the?
Yeah, EV customers, they're generally far more researched. They do a lot of online learning. They are well traveled abroad. They know that EVs are absolutely mainstream in many parts of Europe. And
So they are little a notch above. Right?
definitely, in terms of awareness, in terms of the ability to take a leap also into new technology. So we do see them as with a different mindset.
So Martin, what might work in foreign countries might not work in India, and how do you maintain when you do a design language? How do you maintain that it works across borders, or is there something that you?
To be honest, we never look at it like that.
Design is a design.
Design is design, but we look at it as a global product. Even when we're designing for India, obviously, there are some specifics, but in general, as a philosophy, we always design globally because we have an international team. We have 12, 13 nationalities in Tata Motors design, and 180 people working across the 3 studios, and they're constantly traveling, moving. Projects are being moved around from one studio to another,
Right.
depending on resource, who's available, and what's the best studio for that program.
Right.
So these programs are always seen as globally competitive from a design point of view.
When you have to really what needs to be done to become a designer in Tata Motors? What qualities do you look for?
To be honest, I think you can say that just to what does it take to become a designer in general.
Designer general.
You need to go to a good school first of all.
So is industrial design
Industrial design
is important, right? So you have to
Yes.
know the materials and
Well, yeah, I mean,
you must be experiment.
It's a good gateway. I studied industrial design, but then afterwards I have another degree in car design, in transportation design. So there's specific courses that specialize in automotive design, and even automotive design is split into exterior, interior, colors, materials, UX, UI. Yeah. So it becomes like anything, a specialty thing. But most designers move around and should be capable of doing anything.
So anything in future which is looking from an exterior perspective in materials, like for example, we use whatever you use on the exterior body.
Yes.
Like for example, solar panels.
That's right.
Are you experimenting with those also?
Yes.
So that also happens in the R&D studios, right?
That's right. The design studio is usually linked with a technical center, and so there's a lot of research being done. New technology, and new technology is always the catalyst for design program and progress. So, for instance, you mentioned materials. I mean, our team is undergoing a number of materials development, especially in, for instance, sustainability. And recyclability and things like that. So that's really now an area of a lot of interest and focus.
I see you always playing with the car, always Vivek. So what are your personal favorites from the new Nexon?
I love the paddle shifter.
Okay.
Yeah,
That has a nice
Feel to this.
feeling and
you just keep changing it.
Regeneration. And it's
and
getting back the region back.
Yes, and the instrument cluster is amazing with the maps coming there. And I drive the current Nexon a lot. The power delivery is much smoother.
It's Gen 2, right?
Yeah, it's Gen 2. The motor, I can feel the difference already, the way. Okay. And I love the sound of the
Indicator.
indicator, very, very
It'll
digital.
remind you that you have to come back to your position
Yes.
once you've taken the turn.
I know.
Which is good,
Yeah.
So another safety measure.
Yeah.
But even everything, all these things has been, of course, it's harmonious with the Nexon eyes, but it all blends in very well. So in terms of exterior, the light, that LED strip is very distinguishing, right? You think it will play a big part in consumer decision making?
I think so. Definitely, it gives a very distinct look to the car. And on the EV, like we mentioned, it gives the charging indicator.
Right.
And going forward, we can program more and more information on that.
Right.
So it's both functional as well as extremely design oriented.
And what has been your best marketing campaign? I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
What has been your personal favorite marketing campaign?
Again, it's like the question about the cars. I have to say everything is good.
Right.
But I think the Tiago.
Okay.
Because we opened out a completely new price point.
Right.
In a very new category, and managed to get 10,000 customers booking on the same day. And so far we have sold more than 30,000 Tiagos. So it's like creating a new category.
Okay.
So that's.
I'm going to
my
ask a
favorite.
question to both of you.
Yes.
So you have to pick people, institutions, names, whatever. So where do you get your design inspirations from, and where do you get your marketing inspiration from? What do you think you can answer?
Architecture.
Architecture, great.
Apple.
Apple,
Yeah.
super. That's basically you go for the minimalistic way of doing things. Nice. 1-2 words, and that summarizes both of you.
Yeah.
So, when you were working in the design, you might be like design is a subject that there are a lot of creative differences within your team. So how do you sort of, okay, this is right, this is the way forward?
It's a normal sort of process of elimination. At the beginning, many people put up ideas and proposals, and it's just a simple, you very much follow your gut and instinct.
It's an instinct thing.
Too rationalized.
So sometimes happen your team has come with some idea, you completely ruled it out, and
That's happened before.
and they have taken a.
My first, I've seen proposals that my first reaction is like, I'm not so sure, and then actually I sort of dwell on it and give it a couple of days and maybe a week, and then I'll start appreciating it. Like anything modern and progressive, sometimes it needs time to digest. But actually, at the same time, that's the challenge for us because we can't make something too abstract. A customer has to be able to kind of understand and comprehend what we're trying to communicate. Maybe we can challenge them a little bit, but you have to find that sweet spot.
2 books that you read, always there for you, and 2 books that you read.
I really like Hit Refresh by Satya Nadella. I think it's a good way to reboot yourself very often. Like Martin said, he dwells on stuff for 2 days. It's like rebooting, you have initial thought and how do you reset and look at it with fresh eyes. That book
Really
is something I like.
Do you read or do you just?
No. I read. I read a lot.
Okay.
But a book that I've returned to, there's this book called Into Thin Air. It was about Into Thin Air. It was written maybe 20 years ago, 25 years ago. It was about the Everest climb, and it was a kind of disaster. It's a true story. And then it's the rest.
Nepalese guy, no? Nepalese, right?
There is a Nepalese, obviously, climber there, but it's very good. It's very inspiring, and it's also about the rescue mission on Everest.
So the inspiration can come from anywhere. Design and then Mount Everest. That's the best part. And when you are designing your next stage of marketing strategies, or when your team comes to you and when you don't like Martin said, so do you get a gut feel or you go by some numbers, science?
Both, I would say. But more and more, as a company, we've become more confident to do what the customer wants. I think that's more critical, and it's
sometimes there's an iPad theory. Customers don't know what they want unless you give them an iPad.
Yes, that's true. I completely agree on that. But there are ways to understand what will work for a customer. Customer doesn't know what he wants, but you could have research in different ways which shows preferences, and a combination of data and intuition will give you the answer.
Yeah, because data intuition is very important. Otherwise, if you only go by research in design or in marketing, we would be driving maybe a 7 lakh cars. We say that
Exactly.
with 4 cars. Okay, 4 lakh, now we have 7 lakh cars.
Exactly.
Because it's imagination, intuition, which really takes.
The famous quote from Henry Ford.
Exactly.
If I asked people what they wanted, they said fast.
First I meant that only. I didn't want to use Henry Ford, but you made it easy to me.
But as a company, I think we have become more and more inclusive, isn't it, Martin?
I think we're much more confident. Very much, I think, in a leadership position. Is of course we look at what the market is doing and things like that. But at the same time, I think we have a lot of self-confidence in terms of believing ourselves.
What about the ADAS? Do you think we will get to ADAS features in a very fast way?
If you had asked me a year back, I would have said no way, it will work in India. But now I start believing that probably ADAS is what will get Indians to start driving better. Yeah, because
put them back in lane.
Yeah, I mean sometimes the tail has to wag the dog, and it might just happen in India that because of ADAS.
How many features of ADAS are there in the Nexon now?
Right now, not too many. The Nexon doesn't have ADAS, but
It has
I think
6 airbags.
it's a matter of time before,
before
ADAS
we get
comes in. Not only, across our range.
Because ADAS will also push the prices up.
Yes.
So your Nexon EV customers are also in tier 2, tier 3 cities or more in the...
It's rapidly expanding. Tiago got us a very good entry into the smaller towns. A lot of our customers are in the smaller towns, and actually smaller town customers are very much open to electric mobility because we should thank the electric two-wheelers. You will see a lot of them already present there.
Oh, that's nice.
And small towns have the luxury of having open spaces. Parking is not an issue. You can easily install your chargers, unlike big cities where
And their driving also, radius is also very small.
driving radius is much smaller. So
They're always thinking kitna
yeah,
leti hai,
and exactly the consideration of cost of ownership is very high. So I would say electric vehicle penetration in smaller towns will happen very rapidly. But importantly, the mindset of plugging, charging and driving is already there because they use two-wheelers now. So it's just a logical step up to four-wheelers.
I want to ask you about this program that you run called Evolve.
Yeah.
Especially when you can you just throw some light on that?
So it's just started, I would say, but we've been speaking about the electric vehicle community. The owner community is going to play a very big part in getting new people believing in them. They are very vociferous. They are passionate about educating people about electrification.
Like a referral model?
Yeah. So we do have a referral model as well.
If I refer somebody,
if you're an owner, you refer somebody, you will get gratification. But it's beyond. Evolve is beyond that.
Okay.
Evolve is about using our community to learn better. Their experiences with the car.
So it's like a website and Instagram. Or
Yeah, we'll have it.
It just started.
It will be on digital as well physical. Evolve will also have a lot of physical touch points. We'll have community drives,
Lounges.
Launches, special access to our customers for launches. But in the future, we spoke about Tata.ev and how community is an integral part.
Correct.
But when we say community, not just the owner community, but society. So we will get into doing good for community. So we'll do philanthropic activities, beach cleanups, tree planting, educating people about wellness.
Nice.
Wellness more and more as we go forward as a company, we focus on consumer wellness.
True.
So, but we have to harness our community to do that. But one thing I'd like to say is the EV consumer mindset is also very much in this direction. They like to get together to do things. We have seen that. They are very like-minded. So I think it is a great opportunity for us to use our community better.
Superb. Great. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It was amazing conversation. And Vivek, you've been driving like a pro completely.
Yeah,
I've seen
thank you.
Enjoying the car more than me. I'm really having that FOMO feeling of getting into that.
See, I'll hand it
which I
over
will
to you
do.
now. We won't do the Indian style thing anymore.
And in the morning at 7:15 a.m., Pune is bustling city.
Buzzing.
You could see so much of traffic. Martin, thank you so much. I hope to visit your studio soon. Both of you.
Yes.
And stay tuned. And Vivek, thank you so much for your time, guys.
My pleasure.
If you like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please drop in the comments what you'd like to know. I have access to the gentleman. I will try and get back the answers in case the questions are answerable. And the next one, keep your seatbelts on and always put a smile on your face. Have a great day.